in tunnel network communities.
That's fine.
They had everything they needed down there.
Oh yeah. So like, oh yeah, that's another thing I was gonna ask. So if Donald Trump get in, I mean, well, he already was the president, but like, you know what I'm saying, when this inauguration go through, do you think, and I think I already asked you this, so what do you think the next, if they because they kicking and scratching, man, and they going, we didn't
They
saw
ain't
them do the
picking,
fires.
they right. They running down the street, shooting in the air, hoping you don't catch up to them. They just trying to make a whole bunch of noise on the way out. They done.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
Right. I remember everything that's going on right now. I pretty much said was going to
Yep,
happen, but it
yep,
wasn't a prophecy.
yep, yep.
It
They
was
showed you.
it was from reading the codes that they flip to each other and telling y'all what they saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Just like the White House code green.
right.
Then the next day, Hollywood catch on fire.
Yeah,
We told you that that whole institution got to burn down.
the Hollywood institution,
Yeah.
the
Right.
magic wand.
So now the next thing is the banks, the mass arrested judges, and all of these people that think that they police, they gonna have some juice on the land. They about to get arrested too. You see, that's why all them police stations is quitting. The whole
It's what,
forces
hey,
is quitting.
that's what I heard, man. They said it's a dude that sent me a email saying that they whole thing shutting down. Ain't number sheriffs in their town. The police, all the police quit. They got put out of business. Yeah, in their city. Yeah, and look down where I'm at. That whole ain't no more police. It's only sheriffs. It's only sheriffs down here now. Ain't no police. No police. It's only sheriffs and I think that's it. Just the sheriffs. It ain't no
It might
police.
it might be marshals, but they would be special investigations similar to what FBI do.
Yeah, I ain't really seen no U.S. Marshals. I just really seen this number sheriff.
Yeah,
Ain't nothing
you
but
won't.
sheriff.
You probably won't. If the sheriff called the marshal's office, they got a
Yeah,
murder or
yeah.
they got a high end armed robbery.
Okay, okay. I ain't seen no
Right?
state troopers neither. I ain't been seeing no state troopers neither.
No, they police.
Yeah,
They police.
highwaymen,
Yeah,
highwaymen, robbers,
yeah.
robbers, pretty
That's
much.
where they
Jackers.
came from. The highwaymen. Yeah,
Yeah, jackers, pretty much.
slave patrol.
Yeah, and
So
then
now they all gotta go. They going.
yeah, they already like this is like they gone down here for sure. They gone where I'm at, and then like I heard a couple other people that say, "Oh yeah, well the police ain't down here no more. Ain't no more police." And I was like, "Damn!" Like so, this shit is really rolling out fast. Like they ain't even telling us. Like we knowing what's happening because we know we own it, but like they ain't really saying it. It's like it's just happening, and it's just before you know it, they gonna be just disappeared and left us here by ourselves.
Yeah, Trump did issue several statements telling the banks to forgive the mortgages and car loans, etc.
Yeah, yeah, I heard
Then
that.
he wanted to tell the cease and desist for all of the police, the judges, and the ones that's acting on behalf of a foreign entity for breach of oath.
Yeah,
They didn't been put on notice by him,
yeah. That's probably why
right?
they trying to
So
fuck this shit like this. Real
yeah,
bad. Yeah.
so now they don't know what to do about their courts because if they when we realize their courts is shut down,
That's gonna be some. So like you think they would try to go after our supplies, like our water, like no, we know that the main necessities is food, water, like the main things. You think that they would try to like one of their moves would try to go after our supplies, our food supplies, to try to cause more chaos, order out of the order or whatever?
when everything go dark, we had a power outage.
Uh-huh.
It might not be a literal power outage.
Yeah.
It might just be interruption in services to TV and radio and internet,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? But you still might have local lights and stuff like that. But if anybody got like an elder that's on a ventilator or something, that can't be turned off need to have a generator
Right. Right.
um on standby because you might need it. You might need it.
That's what I was telling people, because they talking about they trying to hit this big center that controls 1/3 of the power in the United States. They was trying. They tried it last time. Remember, they tried it last time. The last year that Trump during the election, they tried to hit this same spot, and the Marines end up. Catholic, you told me about that. Somebody told me the Marines end up. Remember, the Marines end up stopping them from blowing up this big area where it would take out half the power.
Yeah,
The
it was a
Marines.
power grid.
Yeah,
Matter of
yeah,
fact, but we had flipped out the codes before it happened. I was
yeah,
telling you,
yep, yep,
and then I came back with the receipt to tell
yep,
you what the code was
yep,
confirmed
yep.
because they had found two different when they was jumping the trains off the tracks.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
All that was going on at the same time.
Doing
So
the Ohio train reeling. Dang.
they had a series of train derailings.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. They did. Houston. Yeah, remember that. We was reporting it. Yeah. I remember
Okay,
that.
now fast forward to now, they waking up as many sleeper cells as they can to cause chaos, but a lot of them is coming from under the influence of MK Ultra, and it's not working.
That's what I figured, Rod. They
So that's
malfunction.
right. They're not malfunctioning, they coming back to themselves.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. And it's overriding the programming of the MK Ultra program they was given.
Yeah.
Plus the frequency change around them is going to the love frequency,
They're shooting.
which any nefarious thing psychologically done to you, it's gonna start correcting it.
Go ahead. That makes sense.
Right. So when that started happening, they start coming from under the control of the triggers because it's called locks and triggers.
Uh-huh.
Right. This started with the girl burned in the subway.
Yep. I heard about that.
Right. That was the start of identifying the target. And it was three different people got burnt on fire.
That's
And
right.
then they put out some stuff that tied to it on the Diddy case because it's the gossip line.
Go ahead.
Right. So when you put it all together, the order was to silence Ali Carter because she exposing us in the underground. She making us hot in the tunnels.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
She telling too much, right? And they telling the sleeper cell why they want her removed, and the sleeper cell reject the offer, triggers the other sleeper cell in New Orleans to go into effect in order for them to get the answer.
That makes sense.
No, we're not touching Ali.
That makes sense.
Now it's another thing. The sleeper cell could have been pre-identified by somebody that already knew he was being sent to get at that girl. So they could have, like had him incapacitated where he couldn't perform the function.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But they
Right.
definitely sent out the trigger words to activate a sleeper, and they got an answer back, and the answer was NO. And it was sealed on a Tesla explosion, which
Mm-hmm.
is an energy grid reference. 369 turnaround.
They had a couple of Teslas that exploded, like 2 or 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that movie the Obama's supposed to produce, End of Days, I think it was?
Uh-huh.
Remember it had all of the Teslas malfunctioning?
I gotta go check
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That's what it's. I think that's started off the beginning of the movie. All of the cars going crazy. They all going to the same place in the middle of
Damn.
nowhere.
That shit crazy. We got like 4,000 people on here, man. Hey, y'all, everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man, if you're new to the channel, man. If you want to show Chief Pony X some love, we drop that Cash App in the links. Hey, I got another question for you, Rod. Now, so what is Elon Musk connection with Trump? And why are they sending a message to Elon Musk to stay away from Trump with this blowing it up? Or is there any connection with that? With Elon Musk and the Trump thing?
Yeah, it's a connection because Elon Musk is supporting Trump. He the little joker.
Mm, that
He's the
makes
one.
oh shit, that makes sense.
He's the one from the emerald mine. That's how their family got wealthy in South African emerald mines.
Huh.
He went rogue and started trying to do service for the people with the money that he had inherited from the emerald mines. That's what got him into all this techie stuff.
You gave me some stuff I didn't know about Elon Musk.
Okay, now that's a Wizard of Oz reference, Emerald City.
Go ahead.
But the Emerald City is not an Emerald City, it's a Crystal City. It's just gonna land on Emerald Lake in Colorado.
Go ahead.
Right?
I got videos of that. I got. Hey, look, I ain't gonna tell you. I'm about to get ready to put some shit out that's got that video in it already. I might send you a copy of send you a picture of the video. What you
Mhm.
just said. Yeah, I got a video. I got a reenactment of that.
Right.
Man, it's a movie I'm finna get ready to put out called The Pickup. So y'all gonna like that movie. I've been working on it for a while. And it's gonna be fire.
The Crystal City is actually a Anunnaki jumper ship.
Go ahead.
It's the size of a city.
Go ahead.
It got buildings on it.
Yeah.
It's huge,
Yeah.
but it's not the mother plane.
Nah.
It's just a jumper.
We had
But
24.
if you do your research on Emerald Lake, you'll find that the county is in is called the Silver Bow. Right? Now we talking Sagittarius, was it Aries the Archer?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the shape of the county of Silver Blow, it's shaped just like the Liberty Bell.
I gotta load this up. Hey, you keep talking, Rob. I gotta start riding, but I'm gonna just switch to my phone.
um, we're gonna be wrapping it up pretty soon.
All right,
We're gonna take a couple. Let's take about 3-4 questions.
all right, we go ahead. Hey, y'all got any questions based on what we're talking about now and what's going on the land? Drop them in the chat, man. Drop them questions in the chat. This is from Little Rock. Shout out Little Rock, man, in the building. It says if you're just not coming in, you might have to roll it back, man. We was talking about the 4 girls making the connection with the 4 girls in the
Mm.
bombing. It says, "What's next in 18? Do you see?" They say, "Do you see anything happening in Atlanta, Rod, with all this going on? Like, that they are playing some in Atlanta, like a part of this chaos."
Atlanta got away about 4 years ago. They was trying to plant a dirty bomb, and I got a video where I was remote viewing it, and I seen it when they captured the dirty bomb. It was in back of a semi.
Uh-huh.
So the time to get Atlanta,
Pass.
um, right now they can get another bite at the apple if Atlanta keep indulging in nefarious activities in the community.
Makes sense.
They're gonna cause they controlling the energy frequency. If it's too much negative shit going on, like it was where them fires was at,
Uh-huh.
they gonna catch some. They gonna catch some shit down there.
So pretty much, this is the Big Mama Universal Energy, pretty much pulling her belt off, handling
Whooping that, whooping that ass.
yeah. And I know,
Everybody,
like,
everybody don't get the same whooping. We all get the whooping to according to how Big Mama see the dirt we did.
yeah, it ain't no. Hey, look, the people the shit that's this happening to, it ain't nobody poor and the people that ain't doing. It's the rich people that been doing all this stuff. Everybody that stuff that's burning down, it's the people who the bad guys. Really, when you think about it, it's the bad guys, man.
Yeah, this not no accident.
Nah.
Look, and nobody not noticing on each coast we between fire and ice.
Yep, that's right. Icy hot. Ice. Hey, you put icy hot on your neck to leave. Big Mama put that icy hot on her knee, man. And that shit that Big Mama got be burning though, boy. I ain't lying. That shit burn a hole in you.
I'm not sure which black flag they talking about. If it's a MIA POW flag or what. A black U.S. flag, which means take no prisoners. I'm not sure what the flag, what black flag. I didn't see it. You want to look it up, Elder?
Hold on. I can look it up for you real quick while we waiting. Hold on, let me see. I got you right here. I'm gonna look at it right now. Okay, this is okay. Here we go. Here you go. Another. All right. Let me look it up. It says, what area in the U.S. are safe zones with mountains for us to shelter at when poop hit the fan? I guess we're talking about like a nuclear explosion or something.
Ain't gonna be no nukes.
That's what I said. That extraterrestrials ain't gonna let them do it. They already said it. They ain't gonna let them pull off a nuke. And if they do, ooh, that's gonna be.
It might be some big ass bombs, but they're not gonna be nukes.
Yeah, yeah. Black flag.
Yeah. If you want to see what I mean by big ass bomb, go to YouTube and type in Moab bomb, mother of all bombs. It was tested by George W. Bush, G. Dummy, when he was about to right before, I think it was right before 9/11. But they tested it. It's called the Moab bomb, mother of all bombs. But that's not a nuclear bomb. It's just explosives, volatile explosives in high density concentration to render a mega blast.
Yeah, I see people talking about that black flag. Hold on.
The MIA POW flag is for missing in action prisoners of war. They still have operations going on around the world where they was taking prisoners of war that haven't been returned home yet. And you got a lot of people that went missing during combat. And you got us, we prisoners of war on the land. So the flag is the battle cry for the ones that's prisoners of war.
It says gay rights and black. Hey, some people saying it's for gays and Black Lives Matter.
No, not the POW flag.
No, the black flag. They say it's for says these are the green lines. Says these support cops, firefighters, and military at all times. Police support officers started popping.
Cosine, right, which tells them that this is the particle responsible for what we call density of matter. Mm-hmm. But when you look at it under the microscope, it's still an electron and it still follows the laws of the string theory. Right. So the only answer is the explosion causes it to tie up into a knot. From the force and power of the explosion, it makes the light fold back in on itself, creating a piece of dense matter. Mm-hmm. right? This is why the 3D looks like it's fixed position of reality and we can't walk through walls, because the Higgs boson governs the law that separates things. Right? So it's like a pound of feathers and the 1 pound brick drop from 30,000 feet. Which one gonna hit the ground first? The only way that the brick hit the ground first is if the feathers are not contained. If the feathers are contained, like in a pillowcase, they'll hit at the same time because the weight is the same. The only thing that the feathers being in a larger container might experience more drag, which will give us the illusion that they fell at a different rate. But if you can compact the same amount of density and weight of feathers into the same space as a brick, they gonna both hit like a brick. Right. So that's the war of the butterfly. Butterfly fighting the dragon, and you need a trillion butterflies to kill it. Right. But he probably didn't tell him how many butterflies you're gonna lose in the fight from the dragon. Right. So they use the Oregon accumulator to extract the ether and put it in a usable form, and they call it Oregon. And that is solidified ether. Dr. Delbert Blair talks about what's called ore energy, which is primordial base energy. When you're looking at the pyramids, Rich, most of that stuff are metaphysical calculations of creation in some part of the creation or the other. Right. And you use the same methodology to reorganize the society based on the balancing of those equations. They real simple, but they complex. It's complex because we don't know what they mean, but it's simple in the message that they trying to relay. Where does this thing keep sliding?
You good, Rod?
Yeah, my phone keeps sliding and trying to I got it. I think I got it. It's fine. You keep sliding across this thing I got it propped up on.
Serious, please be quiet. All right, so Rod, so let me ask you this now. All right. When you mention the ether and you was comparing it to water, I thought about something you know, that they when they talk about the cosmos, and the best representation they have of the cosmos is, let me show this.
Right, that's because the sacred 369. Remember, you brought up Tesla earlier.
Yeah.
You say when you understand the power of the 3, 6, and the 9, then you understand the fabric of the universe. Right. So when you look at it, all it is different directions of curls. Right. The 3, the 6, the 9.
That's deep. Just different direction of curls. That's deep.
Right. Deep. But this is all taken from, the Afro hairstyle is a representation of the uterus. Right. The energy field around the uterus represents the hair, and the uterus itself is represented by the face. It's a homage to the Great Mother. So you had tribes both over in the Americas, the old Mississippians especially, they had Afro chiefs that wore them big old afros so that they could be seen by the same way as the other tribes wore the war bonnet. When Tukey came down the street with his afro picked out, everybody knew from 4 blocks away that here come Tukey. You can't miss him. All you got to do is look for the muscles in the afro, and you know it's him and his crew. Right. So the hair itself is showing you the expressions of the 369 by the curl. 9 ether being ether to the 9th power of 9. which a lot of people said Malachi was insane until the scientists got a hold of the formula and applied it in a repeatable fashion, and then he wasn't so crazy. Now he has to go. So when you look at the hair follicles, also mimic the brain cells. When you looked at that the fabric of the universe is showing you the same fabric of the layout of the neurons in the brain. It's the same way that the hairs is laid out in the afro, right? And that's to facilitate a more entropy-free exchange of energy. It's the entropy that causes the decay, that causes the spiritual information to be lost in translation to the recipient of the information, right? And by tending properly to your hair, and no matter which form you use it in, if you hold it sacred, you will be able to use it as the sympathetic link to tune in to etheric fields. And the etheric field is going to always be based on your personal vibrational frequency, which will play out in your dream state. Because where you vibrate at in the physical, and when you bring that together with the mental paradigm of who you are, it'll give you a projection to understand spiritual things in the dream state. Mm-hmm. Right? So all of those things are interconnected. Just like the ether is everywhere. It connects all things, so all things are connected.
Right. You know, and Rod, ether, one of the things that moving forward with this channel, I want to continue to stress or continue to highlight is the fact that empty space is not empty. What we call empty space, and we all see empty space in our homes, and you know, when we go outside, you know, we see plenty of empty space, and you know, it's filled with ether. I want to ask you this, Rod. Let me ask you this. Let me see, because I could go in so many directions. All right, so they say the universe is like 90-something% empty space. They say our bodies is like 90-something% quote unquote empty space. Now, our homes, you know, this is like where we live. This is like our sanctuary. This is our castle. This is where we come to escape from the, you know, the stresses of the world. I think it's a very spiritual environment for all of us. Should our homes as well, Rod, because when goes into feng shui, should our homes as well represent 90-something% empty space in order for us to tap into this etheric energy? Because sometimes we may be cluttered and we have too much shit in our homes and we can't think straight. This is why some people don't like a lot of shit in their home, because this is like a direct reflection of not only the universe, but our bodies when it's 97% empty space and just a chair, a desk, a table, or this or that. Is this why it's supposed to be like that in the science of feng shui?
That's applicable to certain people. But you've seen people with a cluttered house with OCD, where every single thing in their house got a designated spot and it got a lot of stuff in there.
Good point. Good point.
Spiritually, what's going on with those people is they spiritually in tune and they seeing everything they have spiritually, and they building the physical representation in their environment. Right. And they're using the orderness, you know, because order is the first thing after the Big Bang, because chaos came and the order had to put everything in a designated place.
Right.
Right. So even amidst what looked like chaos to everybody else, these people have the knack to be well organized in their chaos. Even if a lot of them be old Christian ladies. The irony of that is, if they practice chaos magic, they would be the coldest.
Wow.
They're natural chaos magicians, taking chaos and creating order out of chaos. They problem solvers too.
Wow. That's deep. So let me ask you this. Earlier, you talked about you used the word intentions, right? And in terms of let's think about water, and we see when we throw a rock in the pond of water, the rock generates waves within the water that goes out. What our intention when we're talking about the ether in this field that permeates the entire universe, is our intention like that rock? When we send out an intention, is our intention that rock that hits the etheric waters and sends out a wave that will eventually come back to us, depending on how hard our intention, i.e. the rock, is that we sent out? Right.
Yeah. So the good comparative analysis is the rock dropped in the bucket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the intention is more focused in the bucket, which is represented by the water, it returns back to the center from which the rock pierced the water faster.
Right.
But if you drop it in the ocean, it's still gonna come back, but who knows when? Right. That's a unrefined intentions. That means that you want it, you think you deserve it, but you don't know how to get it, so you don't think you're gonna ever get it. So that makes it take longer to come back. Oh, that's why they say don't put yourself in a box. Stand in the circle, stand on pi 3.14, the center of the circle. Because everything that you put out from the center has to return back to the center in due time. Right. In the tighter your intention field is, the faster it can return. Remember we was talking about Brother Panic and those platonic solids that he was using for manifestation?
Polite. No, Brother Polite.
Brother Polite, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that is, when you use those, you are going in between intentions of similar ideas. And then you infusing it with your willpower, which makes your barrel smaller for your ripples to return faster. So this is why he was using that. That's an old kinetic science that's most people don't know how to properly activate.
Very interesting. All right, Rod. So one of the things you mentioned, Brother Panic, and I don't want to misquote Brother Panic. Rest in power to Brother Panic. Shout out to Khadijah. I talked to his wife the other day. I'm actually going to be doing some family with her in February. She's going to be doing a presentation on the channel. So shout out to Khadijah and rest in power to the spirit, the soul of Brother Panic. But I don't want to misquote him. But he said something along the lines of, now when we talk about ether, when you see the pentagram, I hope I'm saying it right. The pentagram, they said the top part is represents the ether. I believe Panic said when you want to manifest something, this is why certain people wear the pentagram upside down, because that represents bringing the ether down to this realm. Talk to me about why some people may wear a upside down, or when they do rituals, they may have an upside down pentagram versus some people have a pointing up pentagram. Rob, what might be the difference in manifesting something?
Well, it's the power of the energy frequency you're using for manifestation, right? So first of all, you gotta know what the pentagrams is. The 5-pointed star is the pentagram, and it's the representation of the divine feminine as Venus energy. The upside down pentagram is the masculine takeover of the feminine by decapitating the woman. So you gave her a phallus and took her head. So you're using the reverse of her system against her, or the feminine nature. But people think when you say feminine and divine feminine that you're talking about gender. It's about frequency.
What divine feminine?
Right. So the women just have the more of the tools to activate the feminine to a higher degree of expression than the male, who have the anatomy to manifest the masculine to the highest potential of male. Right. So that's the difference in the two. So when you're using the energy, ascending energy and descending energy, fraternal twins, Gemini field, between two pillars, When you're using the energy going up, that's the upward facing triangle. When you use it drawing down the energy, that's the downward facing triangle. Right. So what you're trying to do is meet in the middle, and that gives you the 6-point star. But when you see it in the 3-dimensional expression, you have what's called the Merkaba, 2 pyramids interlocked.
Right. I was going to
right.
ask you.
And then when you spin the Merkaba, you start to produce the crown of life. The crown of life is how the Merkaba look when it's fully spinning. It's moving too fast for you to see it with the naked eye, so it looked like a ball with a whole bunch of sides. This is how the elders explain it in the Kemetic philosophies when they're showing us the difference in the fields of the energy. This is why modern religion took out things like the Jed, which means that you need a pillar or a polarizing force. Just like you need a catalyzing force, you need a polarizing force. A polarizing force, if you can control the polarizing force, you can control both sides of the pole. Right? And this is, back again, standing on 3.14, standing on pi in the center of the circle. But first, you have to learn to govern your micro circle before you can start dabbling in your macro circle. First, you have to get yourself under control before you try to control others. And the way that you control yourself will determine how you control others. If you're hard on yourself, you're going to be hard on other people. And they don't understand the people that's hard on them. It's hard on them because they're hard on themselves. But it really is not being hard on you. What it really is being forcing you to stand on your determination and exercise your willpower by showing you what it looked like when somebody stand on their principles and exercise their willpower. And we tend to become so soft in this modern era that it becomes offensive for somebody to become direct, standing on their principles and exercising their willpower. We get offended because we not doing it. Right? Everybody want to be like Mike, but don't nobody want to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning shooting free throws.
I'm telling you, man.
And everybody that wanted to be like Mike that made it to that level, Kobe Bryant or LeBron or James, you got to look at the practice that got them to the level.
Right.
Because it's the practice that determines the outcome when it comes time to get in that ring. When the rubber meet the road and it's time for the fight, what did you train yourself for?
Right.
Right. That's all using that force, by the way.
That force, right.
And the better trained you is, the more adept you is at using the force. Right. And then it comes out expressed as muscle memory. Right, or rote memory, but it comes out as some kind of memory recall mechanism.
Right.
You put the work in, you're going to get the results out, though they might not be as fast as you would like them to be. They coming. But most people don't have the drive to put the work in, so they never train themselves to use their willpower to bring about their best life.
Right. And hold on, where's this at? Give me a second, y'all. In Plato's, and I should be showing this on the screen, but let me just read this. In Plato's Timaeus, I hope I'm saying that right. Timaeus. So in Plato's Timaeus, he says, speaking on the topic of air, he said, there is the most translucent kind, which is called by the name ether. I want to ask you, with him saying that, Rod, I want to ask you. Now, I've heard Delbert, you mentioned Dr. Blair earlier. I've heard you and many others say that the air they breathed in antiquity when the giants roamed the land is not the air that we breathe now. Did they breathe a more direct form of ether? And what we get now is a bootleg version, but they was getting that, you know how you get cocaine and that shit is pure, and then some niggas step on it? Are we getting the stepped on cocaine? Are we breathing the stepped on cocaine? But they had the raw and uncut cocaine, i.e. ether, back in antiquity, and this is why they were giants, Rod. Is this what Plato's referring to?
The size was based on the 12-strand DNA, and the oxygen transfer capability. Now, oxygen is critical. Because remember, they say so biblically, this is how they tell it. They say that the waters of the sky was separated from the waters of the earth, right? And never knowing it's still water between the upper atmosphere and the earth, but it's not. It's a different part of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is in layers, right? But the layer that we was breathing during the Atlantean era before the war that caused nuclear contamination was the ozone oxygen, double oxygen molecules that reduce the amount of entropy produced in the process of breathing, which is the transfer of spirit inner and outer in order to recycle the energy field. Now, if you look at the air that we breathe in, we have all these other chemicals and gases in the air that's been put in there. That's radioactive particles. Then you have some that's that activate on organs and do different stuff to the organs. All these is chemicals that's in the air. People be worrying about eating clean food, but ain't nobody worried about breathing clean air. And the air quality is directly related to the size of the animal that dwelled on the planet. The dinosaurs couldn't live in this oxygenated environment unless they downsized their massive bulk, because the oxygen would not be sufficient to facilitate them in their survival. They would slowly suffocate.
Right.
We already got fish scales, but they just call it ashy skin.
No, he talking about fish scale is that pure cocaine. So he making a reference. He making a reference to that pure cocaine.
Yeah, that Peruvian flake.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, y'all some funny dudes in the chat. Very, very interesting conversation. Rod, so what I want to ask you about now is they say, all right, let me ask you this, Rod. All right, so a lot of things got demonized. Some of the most spiritual things that can help us got demonized. So
like Baphomet,
all that type of stuff. Everything that pretty much could benefit, they turn evil or to the devil or unlucky, like the number 13, things like that. So they say, researching on the internet, they say that the middle finger represents the ether. Now the middle finger has been demonized, right? You put up the middle finger, if you're spiritual and you go like this, you feel like a derelict. You feel horrible. You feel like a degenerate.
This is ether.
So why on the internet they say the middle finger is ether then?
That's air. It's earth, fire, air, water, ether. Some people may use it to represent the ether, right? Because remember, what happened to the fire when it get done burning? Where did it go?
Yeah.
It went back to the ether.
Yeah.
Right. And he left all of the carbon, which is the physical byproduct of going back to the ether. It's called ashes. Right. Remember when earlier when I was talking about the orgone accumulator? That's the opaque ether that he was talking about when you say that it's the purest form of air.
Right.
Before nuclear war, see, people only think of the nuclear fallout, the radioactive aftermath of a war. What they don't think about is the chemical changes to all of the things that the radioactivity affected. Right. And the only time they pay that attention is when they go to Chernobyl, where they had the most devastating nuclear meltdowns in recent memory. And now they seeing 6-legged cats and frogs with 18 legs, stuff like that. Now they notice that the radiation does more than just, because you gotta remember, only two things causes a mutation. right? Gradual change over a prolonged period of time, or ultraviolet light bombardment of radioactive particles from the sun.
Mm.
When it's time to evolve, the earth and the sun got to say, humans, level up so that the fish can level up, so that the seals can level up, all the way around the whole animal kingdom. We supposed to be able to read nature, understand how we are naturally, and move in harmony with everything around us.
Mm-hmm.
But as part of the byproduct of the entropy, which is the deterioration, you have what's called a negative aspect. Now we going back to Hermetic principle, the law of opposites again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's telling you there's somebody good-hearted that's controlling the ether, and there's somebody dark-hearted controlling the ether, wicked at the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And they in a struggle, an eternal struggle, right, to establish the dominance of which one going to be in existence after the struggle. That's the story of Set and Osiris, the struggle of the two brothers, two opposing forces with two different ideologies,
Mm-hmm.
coming from the same parental source,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the mediator between the two ended up being Isis, which was the sister. And the remedy was for Heru to rise up to the throne, overthrow Set, entropy, extreme chaos, and reestablish the great father, Osiris, who